Hello, hello. Welcome to Divorce with Sam and Leah. Now, imagine this. You're going about your day, but something just feels off. Your ex just happens to show up at the grocery store, at your gym, even outside your workplace. Your phone pings with another message that you didn't fucking ask for. Maybe it's nothing, or maybe it's stalking. If you've ever felt watched, followed,
Mhm.
or harassed by an ex, you are not crazy and you are not alone. Today, we're diving into how to recognize the signs, document the evidence, and protect yourself. And Sam is actually going to share her own experience with this because unfortunately, this happens way too often. So, all right, let's just dive right into it. Sam, what was happening in your divorce slash post divorce life where you kind of started feeling like somebody's on your ass. Like somebody's watching you, somebody's in your business.
Yeah.
What was happening?
I will say first and foremost, like I was blind. I literally had no idea that the things that were happening to me were happening. I really didn't. I thought there was a lot of coincidences. I thought, okay, you live in a small town, it's just by chance. I thought that's really weird that he knows that. I didn't tell anybody that. I thought, like I'm getting emotional thinking about it. I would be sitting and telling my mom something, and then 2 days later, he would bring it up, and I would just be like, "How did
Mm,
he know that?" Like,
right.
strange, I would just chalk it up to strange.
Yeah.
Well, you fast forward, in our court case, drug on, and there's this day where you have to give the other side your interrogatories and discoveries and your evidence to be able to be used for your case. And most of these things are just paperwork, and we sent over our paperwork and they sent us their discovery interrogatories and evidence. I sent over mine in a manila envelope,
Mhm.
standard manila envelope, probably approximately an inch and a half thick, because these are pretty big packets that you have to fill out about what do you think about this parent? What do you think about this parent? What evidence do you have about this parent, this parent? Now, again, you guys, this is 2 years, almost 3 years into our case that this is just now being turned in. I hand over mine and his side hands over a box. And my attorney looked at me and she said, "Do you have any idea what's in that box?" And I said, I don't have a clue. Court's dismissed. We're leaving. And she says, "Stay right here. Don't move." And I said, "Okay." And I'm thinking, like, what's in the fucking box? Like, I handed him
Mhm.
a manila envelope. What is in this box? And so my stomach is just in knots. And my attorney's like, "Sam, I've never been handed a box before. So let's just sit tight." And so he leaves with his attorney because they always want you to leave at different times, and which is smart. And I'm still like, what's in the fucking box? Like, I am like sweating profusely. And I
Like,
go
what
down.
could he
What's
possibly
in a box? Like,
have?
is there an object in there that's taking up so much space? Like there has to be some kind of big, like a helmet or something in there that this box has to be a legal paper box. And so we go downstairs. She's like, "Okay, this is plenty of time for them to leave. Let's go downstairs and we'll open the box." So she literally takes the box after we get off the elevator. We're on the basement floor, ground floor, and she sets it on top of the garbage can and she opens it up. And in it is two stacks of papers. I mean, stacks. We're talking 8 inches thick on each side. And she's just kind of flipping through them, and it's pictures and text messages and bank accounts and more pictures, social media posts, everything. And she said, "Do you have any idea what this is?" And I said, "I have no idea what this is." And so, like, my heart is racing just telling the story. And she said, "We need to go to the office and we'll look at it." So now I have to leave. I still don't know what's in the box. I can kind of see what
Mhm.
it is, but I don't know. Is it his stuff? Is it my stuff? Like, what is it? So we get to her office and we start going through it and we're laying everything out. And I'm seeing my MySpace account. Again, this is old school, guys.
Yeah, shout out to MySpace.
MySpace. Still can't remember my login. Um, I'm seeing my Facebook DMs. I'm seeing a credit card that was only in my name. I'm seeing anything correspondence of text messages that I had to people. I'm seeing pictures of myself that I did not take. I'm seeing video entries that I have no idea I'm seeing my life for the past 2 years in paper form.
Wow.
And I am sick to my stomach because I
Right.
see pictures of me being places that he was not. I see pictures of me with people where he was not at. I see
So were
pictures
you
of the
like,
inside
did
of
he
my
hire a
home.
private investigate? Like, how were
Girl,
you like, "How the fuck did this even happen?"
a couple things. Do I think he hired people? Absolutely. Do I think he paid people to break into certain things? Absolutely. Do I think that he put my kids in vehicles and cars and followed me around? 100%. I know that. Do I think that he watched my every move because he would wake up in the middle of the night, jump into my social media when I was asleep, read all of my content and then mark it unread and go back to sleep? 100% because he said that in his deposition. I ended up,
Wow.
when all this got happened, it was a huge, like, I lost it because at that point I realized I had been followed for 2 years. Every part of my life, from bank accounts to social media to my home to anywhere I went, he was there or he had someone there. I passed him one time on the road after a late night of going out. We both got invited to the same shower that a wedding party that we were both in. We were both in the wedding. This is real quick after we got split up. And I knew not to drive home. And it was his time with the kids. So he had to go home to the kids and I didn't have to. So I stayed out, but I had my dad come pick me up because I'd been drinking. So my dad drove pick me up. We left my car there. Smart, right? That's what you should do if you've been drinking. We passed him on the road. He was headed back to the party to go take a picture of my car, which we ended up finding in the box later. There was a time where it was snowing out for my kids and I, and my ex-husband and I only lived 6 blocks away from each other. And I showed up late, and I never show up late. And when I got there, he goes, "Why are you late? You left on time." And I thought that was
Mm.
weird.
You're like, "How do
And I
you
said,
know
I was
that?"
like, "How did you know I left on time?" And it didn't click with me then. I literally then just went into this protective mode where I said, "Well, I hit the corner ice and I got kind of my ass in stuck in the ditch a little bit and just took me a little bit to weeble wobble out. And that's why I'm late." It didn't click with me till, months later. I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my mom in my garage and I'm telling her something. And 2 days later, he's like, "Did you know this happened?" And I was like, I only told my mom that. Like, how in the
Mm.
hell did he know that? And then I started to think about all the other times that he would always know about something,
Mhm.
and he'd ask me about a certain person. And I'm like, I know I only talk to that person on social media because they don't live by me. How did he even know to bring that name up? And again, you guys, I was naive because I didn't think someone would do that
Mhm.
because I was a good person. And I thought you only do that if somebody's being crazy or somebody's being wrong
Right.
or
Breaking
somebody's
the
doing.
law or
Yeah. And
something, yeah.
and so you fast forward, after I have this mental break of finding out that he has been in my life in every nook and cranny behind the scenes without my permission. My lawyers take over, yada, yada. He claims that he had to do this to prove that I was just this big unfit mom. And the judge let it in to our family court case because he was so diligent about collecting this evidence that the judge said, I have to let it in because there must be a reason. There must be something here in this box that's going to prove his point because he was so adamant about collecting all of this information. So, we sued him civilly and it was an easy stalking and harassment charge. And he had a deposition where he admitted that he did all of these things, that yes, I followed her. Yes, I
Wow.
broke in. Yes, I did all these things. And, but you're so broken, your whole life. He read intimate messages between me and people that I was interested in, and intimate messages between my friends and my family. And I mean, he was pretending to be me on social media, logging in. And it was just, you look back and I didn't notice it in those 2.5 years. And then to look back and be like, every part of my being for 2 years, he saw and observed and watched and listened to. And it's
Yeah.
all for what? Now, my therapist, I mean, again, I had to have a ton of therapy for this. Um, Paranoia.
Mm, yeah. Right.
Paranoia. That's all I can. He didn't have shit on me. I didn't
Right.
I didn't abuse my children. I never harmed my children. Because I had a social life and he did not, he was paranoid that I was gonna take the kids. And so he
Yeah.
had to find something,
So
and to
crazy.
do
So,
that,
like,
he had
when
to
that happens to you, I can't even imagine the anger, the
humility.
yeah,
The
just
humility of
embarrassment too
yes.
of like, oh,
Mhm.
like, just my brain would just be I'd be like, "Oh my god, like, what else is out there?" Like, my privacy, what an invasion of privacy.
Mhm.
And so just emotions that probably came up that you had to process just to wrap your head around the fact that that is actually what was
Yep.
happening to you like I feel like it's the equivalent of just literally just being naked. It's like just
Mhm.
you feel like you are just out naked for the
There
world to
was
see and you didn't even know.
there were pictures of me in public that I didn't even know someone was there watching me. And
So
it
creepy.
was just like this, "Why? You had
Right.
the kids. I didn't do
Right.
anything when I had my kids, I had my fucking kids, and I was a fucking
Yeah.
mom. But when I didn't have my kids,
You were
I
living your
I was
life,
living a fucking life. I
doing
was
doing normal
friends,
things.
sorry you don't have any, sir. I
Yeah.
do. Sorry I have friends and family that wanna enjoy me now because I wasn't allowed to do shit when I was married to you. Sorry, sir, my kids are gonna be exposed to friends and family for the first time since you've isolated us for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, it was
It's
this
like an
paranoia.
obsession. I
Oh,
mean,
he
that
was
yeah.
obsessed with making sure he knew every fucking move I made, and I
Mhm.
wasn't about him. For me, it was like, "Live your life, bro. Go
Yeah.
ride your Harley, have a good life, be good,"
You're trying
like,
to move on.
get laid, enjoy your time, like, have a cocktail, fucking relax. But anytime he didn't have the kids, obsessed with me. Anytime he had the kids, obsessed with me.
Mhm.
And my kids picked up on this super quick. What are we doing? Gonna go see where mom's at? He would literally put them in the car, drive them past where I was at, and say, "Look, your mom's not home. She's out being with people. She should be at home getting the house ready for you. She should be out buying groceries like other good moms. The fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
My kids were single digits, like 3, 4, 5 years old when he was doing this shit. 4 years. This wasn't a weekend activity. This was a 2-year span that he did this to me and my children.
It's so
Pictures,
crazy.
pictures from inside my home. As you're flipping through stuff, you're thinking about, holy shit, like he saw that? He was there? He had some like fucking gross.
Yeah.
And guess what? All that got used in my case to prove that what? This is at the end of my case. This is what a judge said. He said, "Well, Samantha and your ex are completely different." He goes, "They're just different. Samantha
Mhm.
has friends and a social life.
Right.
So you, sir, want to be obsessed with your children 24/7? Good for you. Samantha enjoys her free time and is a social butterfly."
Mhm.
But nowhere did I see any of the activities that Samantha did on her own time were her children in any of those fucking pictures. Like, you guys, this is obsessive, but
Yeah.
this is kind of to make a little bit light of this. There was a picture of me singing into, and I should have brought one for a prop today for those of you that can see me. There was me singing into the end of a mag flashlight, a mag, like huge long flashlight. And I'm singing and I'm like this in the picture with my bestie next to me. And there was 30 adults camping that weekend. And there was just this picture of me singing into a mag flashlight. In court, they tried to say you were so drunk in this picture that you were performing oral sex on a dildo in front of people. I got one. I
Even
got a
okay, but even if that were true,
still legal.
it's nobody's fucking
Still
business.
legal.
Yeah,
Can still do that.
what are you gonna I mean,
I got
your
one. I
kids
got one
weren't
better.
there.
I got one
Yeah.
better. Because he hacked into one of my friend's blogs and read her blog. This girl, one of my besties, was a creative writer. That was her outlet. She was a writer, still is. And she wrote a creative blog about our lives and told stories, and they were hilarious. And she gave us names, and I was Meredith off of Grey's Anatomy, and she was telling all these stories, all these stories. And one of the stories, Meredith goes to play cards, and she does shots of pickle juice. And so this is the story. And this was really like our life. We went to our friend's house, we played cards, and the losing team had to do shots of pickle juice. Do you know how many hours we spent on the stand on evidence of trying to figure out what was in pickle juice? Hell, I should have worn my t-shirt. I have a t-shirt that says, "Anybody want pickle juice?" His attorney tried to make it sound like I was doing repeated shots after shots after shots after shots of this like mixed drink, that I was so drunk that I shouldn't have drove home. And so when I was on the stand, they asked me, what were in these shots? And I was like, the juice from pickles. My girlfriend gets on the stand and repeatedly drilling her, what was in these shots that you guys did 13 of that day? She was like, literally the juice that is drained from a pickle jar. Like, she was trying to be technical. this is the obsession of trying to prove that I was a bad mom because I fucking did shots of pickle juice on a Sunday watching the Bears game. Like,
Right.
are you kidding me? But this is money wasted. This is 8 days of testimony of people coming in to say the same thing over and he was obsessed with trying to prove that I was something I was not, but he had to stalk me to do it.
Yeah.
And it was something that took me a lot of fucking therapy to get over. And I share that because I've never really talked about it publicly, and my kids know of it, and they're older now. And they were used that whole time. Where's your mom at?
Right.
Where'd she say she was going? Hey, let's swing by and see if she's where she said she was going to be. They were in the car all the time pointing out, he would say, look at her at that bar. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, does it have a bar? Sure. Was I in there having a drink with buddies? Sure. Was I also eating and watching a game? Also, yes.
Yeah.
So I had to take the kids to Buffalo Wild Wings and be like, look, there's TVs, there's food, like mom left by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Like
Right.
it was just
Just
this
that
thing of like,
manipulation, like them,
oh,
he's using the kids as pawns and trying to turn them against you. And these are the things that we see. This is high conflict, right? This
this
is
is,
just an example, just one example of what we mean when we talk about a high conflict divorce. It is somebody who is
yeah,
obsessive. It is somebody who is literally making it their life's purpose to fucking tear you down, to turn your kids
yeah,
against you, to manipulate scenarios, situations to make you look bad, make you
mhm.
look like you're the villain. This is what it is. And when you're dealing with somebody like this, it's so stressful because you're co-parenting for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And
You're gonna start a
this type of
trial
person
out
is
like,
never going to change. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna start my trial out this, and then we get handed a 4-page parenting plan where they're like, work together. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You
Work
want me to
together.
work
Okay.
together with the guy that just had like 8 days worth of evidence that amounted to nothing in the
Right.
case, nothing, but a waste of fucking money on our
Right.
attorneys debunking pickle juice, like, oh, where were her kids? Well, they were with me. Oh, okay. So she was out having fun with her friends while you had the kids, but she's a bad mom. The judge eventually like stopped halfway through, like I think day 6. And he was like, if there's not hard evidence in this box that Sam harmed her children, can we stop going through the box? Like it
Yeah.
seems that Sam's a social butterfly. It seems that Sam enjoys her downtime. But if we can't prove that she's harmed her children, can we move on?
Yeah.
And so it was hard. I was just not equipped. I didn't know the signs to look for.
Right.
I didn't have any help. I wasn't being like, I didn't tell anybody my like, well, it feels creepy. It feels like he knows stuff. Like I wasn't sharing that with anybody,
Right, right. And
So I
again, this
mean,
is back in the MySpace day,
this
which
is
means like there
early
were no there was
2000s.
no like the next chapter membership, like where you
No.
can, lean on other moms who are going through a similar experience and dealing with somebody who is a narcissist or a
Mhm.
sociopath or somebody who's really making their lives hell. Now you do have the support, luckily. So if you are somebody, if you're listening and you suspect that your ex is stalking you, you have to document everything and gather as much evidence as
Right.
possible. So here are just a few key steps that you can take. So number 1 is you have to keep a detailed record, which is you're
Yeah.
documenting every incident, including dates, times, locations, and a description of what happened.
Right.
Note how the behavior makes you feel. Is it fear, anxiety, things like that? Save screenshots of any texts, emails,
Mhm.
social media messages. You want to capture digital evidence, right? Of any
Yeah.
screenshots of like any online harassment, fake profiles, repeated friend requests, shit like that.
Right.
Save voicemails, emails, threatening messages. If you notice your phone or email or social media is being accessed, make sure you're enabling. Now they have that 2-factor authentication. You're going to
Right.
log out of all devices, set up that 2-factor authentication so that you get that code. You're the only person that can log in.
Right.
If you see your ex following you, take pictures or videos when it's safe to do so. And if your ex is leaving like notes or gifts or something like that, just save them and take photos before removing them from
Right.
where they place them. If friends, neighbors, coworkers, or family members have seen the stalking behavior, ask them to document and or provide statements, right? Because those
Right.
witnesses will help you. If you suspect GPS tracking, make sure you check your car check your phone for tracking devices
You
or
guys,
tracking apps.
there is there are so many things they can do with a car, and tile pieces slipped in places, buy AAA for your vehicle, and they get to watch where your vehicle goes all the time. Like you'll be amazed at how creative they can get. To the paranoia is what's leading the cause. The
Right.
paranoia of where's she going? What's she doing? Who's she with? Who's she fucking? Who, is she enjoying her life? How dare her? It's that paranoia that you're moved on, that you've left them.
Mhm.
The vehicle, they will drop things in, tag your car, stick stuff inside of your hitch, slide things down your windowsill. Like, I mean, you get to a point where I had to work it out with my therapist, that I had to accept. I had to work through a lot, but I had to accept that if he wants to, he will, and I can't
Mhm.
stop it. And I just had to keep living my life. If you want to be obsessed with me and follow me and know my every move, go for it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep living,
Right.
because I'm not doing anything wrong. So, like, do you, boo?
Yeah.
But it's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
the you have to search your home and buy these devices where you can go around and look inside of every nook and cranny. Turn all your lights off. Do it at nighttime. Look for things that are glowing. Look for things that are humming. Turn everything off that you can. Change your Wi-Fi password. I mean, there's just so many things
Yeah.
that you have to do to be diligent about people that want to stalk and harass. And again, this doesn't discriminate. There's women that are just as obsessed with this kind of behavior. But
Sure.
in my story, it was my ex-husband who did it to me. And I know that there's a lot of women that we have in our audience that are listening whose ex-husbands are the same way. And it's an insecurity that leads to the paranoia, to leads to
Mhm.
the obsession. It's not all men, but it's bad men.
Yeah.
It's bad
Yeah.
men that have something going on upstairs that just aren't not well, that think that this is an appropriate reaction to someone leaving you.
Right.
Come on.
If you do, think that your home is being watched, also maybe consider installing security cameras.
Yes,
That's an option, and even you can get a police report, because even if the police can't take immediate action, filing reports creates a paper trail. And if you already have protective orders in place, any violation should be reported immediately. Again,
right.
you want that paper trail. And then possibly just seek legal protection. Like, there you may be able to get a restraining order if you can show a pattern of harassment, which is why documenting is so important. And if you really do feel like you're in danger, don't contact local authorities or domestic violence shelter for support.
Yeah, and that was, again, that's the humility part, having to go to the cop shop and say, in a small town, "Hey, here's what happened. Here's a box. This is a little excessive, a little over the top. He knows more about me than I think I remember about myself. I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable. What can you do?" I mean, it's humiliating to have to be like, I didn't. And again, one of the very first things that our chief of police said, he was like, "How did you not know?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. I was oblivious. Like, I didn't
Right.
think people, I thought this was on TV. I didn't know this was
Right.
going to be in a small town right in front of my face using
And
my
you don't
children.
also wanna be living your life in paranoia.
Yeah.
You don't wanna be like, what if he's doing this? What if he's
That was
following me?
me
What about, like,
married.
you, that's no
I
place to live,
I
to,
was
no way
paranoid
to live.
married. Am I making him mad? Is he upset with me? Is he mad at me today? Is he gonna yell at me today? Am I not allowed to cross the street? Am I supposed to not wear perfume? Like, that was me married. When I got away, I was like, "Whoo, freedom. Let's go
Right.
enjoy life again. Let's have friends again. Let's be, social." Um, and so it was just a lot. And I'm not saying I was perfect through my divorce journey whatsoever, but that was a kick in the face to have a box handed to me and then to look inside and see my last 2 years in paper form. And I didn't give permission for any of those pictures. I didn't give permission for any of those conversations to be looked at. And I mean, it was a complete invasion of privacy, something I didn't do to him. I would never, again, we're done. Let's move
Right.
on. But the obsession and the paranoia is what leads the charge for some people that have a personality disorder that just cannot accept it. And there's nothing I can do to change that radical acceptance that that's the life. But yeah, I mean, you could file civilly and take them down civilly if you have the energy, the courage, and the money to do so after you just went through a family court case. That's the decision I had to make. And it's not for the faint at heart. You have to tell your friends and family. You shouldn't have to do this alone. And you need to stop and think, where are your children during all of this stalking? That was the
Right.
question my attorney kept asking. "So how'd you get this picture?" "Oh, well, we went and followed her." "Where were your kids?" "Oh, they were in the car." "Oh, at 1 o'clock in the morning." "Okay, that's good. That's good for you." Like, Your obsession led to pulling your kids out of bed to go snap a picture. Why? Why? To prove what? You know?
Yeah.
So again, this isn't I don't really normally share that kind of thing, but I know there's so many of you. We see it over and over again inside the next chapter of our moms just being stalked and harassed, of feeling and being told everything they do is wrong, and that they see them and that they know what they're doing. And I saw you here. And these people have trolls out everywhere watching you, reporting back to every little thing you do. And it makes you second guess, is having friends wrong? Is going out with a girlfriend wrong? Being at this concert, is that wrong? Going camping, is this wrong? Because you're being watched all the time, and it's exhausting, and it's not fair, and it's not how life should be. So if this is happening to you, please reach out, get the help you need, get the support you need, get into therapy. I'm telling you, therapy saved my life through that moment, because it was such a shock, and having to know what everything was going to come out in court was humiliating. To see my social life put on billboards and plastered in my court case, it was a lot to take in. Again, it was all things on my own time, but it still is just for people to be that inside of your life without your permission. It's scary, and it's
Yeah.
hurtful, and it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. So if that's happening to you, my heart goes out to you. But please reach out, get some help, get inside the next chapter, book a clarity call, seek some therapy, but tell your friends and family. Don't be ashamed of it. You're not doing it to yourself. Someone's doing it to you. So, all right, you guys, this was a hard one. So
Yeah.
reach out to your friends that maybe are struggling with divorce, pass it along so maybe they get some validation and don't feel so alone. But check on your divorced friends, everybody. Take care.